Hello, sports fan. This is Stephen Hill for Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering the NFL trade deadline winners and losers. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure you go ahead and subscribe right now to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates each and every time we have breakdowns here at Sports Choice Plus. And without further ado, we're going to get right into the action. Coming into this NFL trade deadline, there was a lot of teams that literally needed to make moves, whether it be to clear the path for younger players to be able to get more playing time in the future right now, or add contending pieces to contending teams. So it's a combination list of the basically the teams that didn't really make moves versus the couple of teams that did make moves. So you're looking get into this list. The first team on this list is going to be the Washington football team. A big reason why they're on this list is because they did not make the moves they need to clear a path for younger players. When you're looking at Dwayne Haskins and his development as a quarterback with this team, you just want to roll back a couple of years and see that he was taken by a team that did not want him in the first place. The owner wanted him, Snyder, but Gruden did not want him. He was drafted, not properly developed, thrown into the fire, and didn't really have a chance to start off on the right foot. You're looking at Coach Rivera right now, and you're asking yourself, he's behind Alex Smith. Alex Smith has not really played football in a couple of years, just getting him back into the swing of things this year. And you're saying, okay, if he's behind Alex Smith, what developing is he really doing on basically the practice squad at this point? Is he just holding a clipboard? Is he active for football games? He's not doing anything and learning anything, so you might as well get rid of him. What you could get from Dwayne Haskins is a 7th round pick, a 6th round pick, or even a 5th round pick. Those things are helpful when you're rebuilding a team because Washington needs several different needs on a football team. Not just the top first pick, the second pick, or third pick. You're looking at those late round picks that could add depth to your special teams. They could add depth to your defense, whether it be nickel corners, whether it be linebackers, whether it be DNs, defensive tackles. It's certain things you can get in a 7th round, 6th round, those hidden gems and what I'm looking for. So Washington really blew an opportunity to shed basically that draft pick off their books and give it to Pittsburgh or give it to a team that really doesn't really need a quarterback right now, but they could possibly develop somebody for the future. And if you don't believe in Dwayne Haskins, you should have got rid of him. That's basically the end all be all. So that's why Washington's on this list right now. Coming up next, you have the New England Patriots. Two different parts to this. The New England Patriots did not trade Stephon Gilmore. With all the talk of him being traded and him not fitting the Patriots' payroll, I know he fits the scheme and what Bill Belichick wants to do, but he's asking for money. And when you're Bill Belichick and you have players that are outperforming their contract and they're asking for money, that's about the time he gets rid of them. You look at Tom Brady getting rid of, basically in the past. You look at basically every player that's going to Bill Belichick in from the old Patriots to even now. A lot of those greats are no longer on that team because they came up for a payday. And Bill believes in the next man up. If you're the next man on the roster, I can pay you less and you better perform or you'll be out of here too. That's basically how they do that. And I put them on this list twice because not only did they not get rid of Stephon Gilmore to possibly improve that defense or get draft picks and other things that can help this team, but they didn't add a wide receiver. You didn't add a running back. You didn't add any weapons for Cam Newton to try to salvage this year because if you look at the Buffalo Bills, they're not that impressive as far as going away with the division. You look at the Miami Dolphins, they're still undecided. You know, the case is not out. They're not undefeated. They're not the best team in the league. So you still could catch up. The Jets are not a factor right now. So you still have a chance not only to make moves, but possibly catch Buffalo for one of those playoff spots or even win the division possibly still. The rest of the season is still among us, and we still have a lot of football to play, but I'm disappointed. New England did not make a move when they clearly could have made a move to improve that roster and give Cam some help. Even if you added more defensive pieces, you sacrifice Gilmore at cornerback, you could bring in other corners off the street, whether it be from free agents. You have some serviceable free agents there. You also have different teams that needed a Stephon Gilmore that were title contending that would more than be happy to give up their first round pick or their second round pick. Or you could have gotten multiple first rounds for Stephon Gilmore just to rebuild that team. Or even if you're flipping picks like Bill Belichick likes to do, you could have done that in this situation. So that's why they're on this list twice, because they didn't add any wide receiver help or running back help or tight end help, and they did not get rid of Stephon Gilmore, even though he's going to want more money at the end of the year. Coming up next, the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans had one of the chances to kind of rebuild some of that draft capital that they just gave away. When they made those trades for Jadeveon Clowney, when they made those trades for Laramie Tunzel and Kenny Stills and things like that, they gave away a lot of draft capital. And when you're looking at that, this team's mortgage is their future's mortgage for the next couple of years. You're looking at exactly what are the Houston Texans going to be. They have the same defense. They have the same offense. They didn't add anything to help Deshaun Watson out. And you start to ask yourself, is this team going to be a habitual, mediocre team year in and year out? That's what it's kind of looking like at this point. When you're looking at the defensive side of the ball, is there any player that you would have never traded? I mean, untouchable. At this point, I love J.J. Watt, but he is injury prone, so he could be traded. You could have gotten anything for a lot of these guys, and you do have young players that you have on the Texans that can be developed. Let's just face it. At the end of the day, as good as some of these guys are, you should have got rid of them. When the Packers came calling, you should have gave up Cooks. You should have gave up Fuller. You should have gave up a lot of things. And I would say you can fetch second round, third round, fourth round picks to help rebuild this team very quickly and get Watson some help as well. The lack of moves just means you're selling at this point, and it's almost like you're settling in a sense as well. Because when you don't have help on defense or offense, what is your team doing for the remainder of the year? I doubt if they're going to catch any of the AFC South teams to even make a playoff potential run. But at this point, it does not making sense for me what the Texans are doing. I know that Romeo Crennel came out and said they didn't get offered a deluxe bag of peanuts. But you got to ask yourself, you don't really have anything to show for your team as of right now. Bill O'Brien ran his team in the ground. No real draft capital. No real for the next 5-6 years. No real chance to really make improvements. So you're going to have to salvage off some of those parts eventually if you want to be a title contender at that point. And last up for the losers, you're looking at Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers balked basically on the deal. They did not want to pay the Houston Texans asking price for Fuller. When you look at Aaron Rodgers, he basically has Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. That's basically all he has. And when you're looking at where this team is right now, every single year, it's almost the same thing. Devontae Adams is slowly turning into the best wide receiver in football. And it's an argument that you can use when you see how many games he's missed this year. You look at his touchdown total, the kid goes crazy. I know that the Packers could have added wide receiver help or even a running back or a tight end, but trading Fuller could have fetched them some defenders as well. This defense for the Packers does need help. They need it quickly. And I would have used this as a time where I could have traded off a couple of players and gotten a couple of defensive players back. Even though the Texans don't have the best overall defensive players, you could have got something from somewhere. When you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, what did the Packers do in the draft to improve this team for this year? The tight end that they drafted, a wide receiver, I believe, he has one catch and he tore his ACL. The backup running back that they have has 23, 24 attempts, a couple of catches, and he's on the COVID list right now. So it's not really clear what the Packers are doing, but it is clear they're not trying to give Aaron Rodgers too much help. And that's what I mean by this team has a chance to potentially, in a down year for a lot of teams, sneak in and win a potential Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I know that's the last thing that Matt LaFleur wants to do, because then he would have to possibly keep Aaron Rodgers a couple more years more than he needs to. But that's a big part of why you do what you do. If you're the Packers, play with house money. Try to win while you have Aaron Rodgers now, because you do not know what Jordan Love is going to be at that backup quarterback position for the next couple of years. You have no idea how he's going to fit in that system and scheme and actually play in the NFL. So those are my losers. To get those losers out the way, I have a couple of winners. When I'm looking at the winners, I'm looking at Seattle. Adding Carlos Dunlap was a big move for Seattle. I know they did it before the trade deadline, but you're looking at what he brings to the table. He's a serviceable lineman. That's a defensive lineman. And he not only can get the pass rush, he can stop the run as well. You look at his best years in Cincinnati, he was a formidable foe for a lot of those quarterbacks in the AFC North. And you're seeing just how his size, his physical strength, and what he brought to the table when you used to pair him with Geno Atkins in the middle. It was a hell of a combination for that Cincinnati Bengals defense. And you're looking at Seattle. They need all the help they can get on the defensive line, and improving that defense is a goal for them, and adding pieces to help Russell Wilson overall in general was the goal. They added a big part, and I think Dunlap towards the end of the year, you're going to see his potential boom for them. And I don't think that's a bust that they got him. I think it's a pretty good price that they paid for him, and they got him for the remainder of the year. So I think this is a big pickup for them. And overall, you're looking at what this team needed moving forward. They still need a couple more defensive pieces. They're going to get Jamal Adams back, and hopefully he gets healthy very quickly, and they'll start making some noise defensively, hopefully by the end of this year. And the second other winner that I have, the biggest winner basically, you're looking at Avery Williams, and him going from the New York Jets to the Steelers. The Steelers basically gave up a little to nothing to get him, and you look at what they're getting to that defense. A strength for the defense is their linebacker play for the Steelers. And they add a pretty good linebacker, a tackling machine, a guy that's durable, a guy that can make the plays. And you're looking at him, adding him as just another guy. You're not asking him to come to the Steelers and be a savior of the defense. You're asking him to come in, do his job, get the job done, make the tackle, cover your guy. And I think that what they did was they played smart. They picked from a Jets team that's basically selling off everything. And it was almost like when they traded the Dolphins for Fitzpatrick. You know how Minka was basically complaining in Miami. They got rid of him, and he turned out to be an MVP of that defense last year with all those interceptions and all those deflections. I think this is one of those moves that can help secure that defense and help them become a Super Bowl champion again. This is my NFL trade deadline winners and losers. What'd you guys think of my list? Did you see anybody else in that list that should have been on there? Did you see any other winners or losers? Leave those comments in the comment section below, and I thank you so very much. Make sure you subscribe right now. Turn those notifications on, and we want to make sure we're getting you great content each and every week here on Sports Choice Plus. Until our next video, my friends, y'all be safe.